Every gamer has their own mic drop surprise trailer moment. Mine and many others was the first Final Fantasy VII Remake revealed during a PlayStation State of Play back in 2015. That feeling of your favorite childhood game getting the royal treatment with the best of modern technology is truly unparalleled. Of course, some remakes or sequels don't feel as magical and pure as the original, but we all want to experience the hype regardless. Sequels and remakes are tricky to get right. It can be hard to preserve the charm and the quality of the original in that follow-up. It can be even tougher to surpass and iterate on what the first game did so well. Some games are just absolutely begging to be expanded upon with a new entry, and it's those that we'll highlight here. Each of these titles represent a what if that gamers are hungry to see happen one day. But whether due to corporate meddling or cancellations, they still seem so far away. So with that, here are the 10 games whose surprise trailers would make the community absolutely lose it. Days Gone 2. While the odds of a Days Gone sequel remains unlikely, Sony Bend has managed to stir hype thanks to the game's April 2025 remaster. With its remaster, Days Gone finally smooths out the original's rough frame rate while enhancing its visuals with better shadows and 4K resolution. That release reignited hope for a sequel, but those hopes were eventually crushed when Sony Bend posted a job listing seeking someone with experience with multiplayer game development and design. The studio has a history of outright dismissing any possibility of a sequel in the past as well, but demand remains high, and where there is demand, there is money. Knowing Sony, it wouldn't be completely implausible to eventually see a Days Gone 2 in the future, especially if fans remain vocal about it. The Saboteur 2. Remember Pandemic? No, not the 2021, but the studio that brought us Destroy All Humans and Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. The Saboteur was their last game before being dissolved into the rest of EA, and it had a lot of unique things going for it. Sure, it followed the Ubisoft open-world design ethos, but the World War II France setting and the mechanic of restoring color to liberated districts really stood out. Now imagine how cool a sequel with top-notch voice talent and an actually compelling story would be. With EA's enormous budget and the creative potential of that setting, a Saboteur 2 would finally give us a GTA-style game set in World War II Europe, but it's a long shot at best. Uncharted 5. The last time we ventured into the world of Uncharted was 2017's spin-off starring Chloe and Nadine. Lost Legacy seemed to be paving the way for the next generation of Uncharted with its more open-ended exploration and, well, lack of Nathan Drake. Of course, Nathan's story isn't necessarily over following the ending of Uncharted 4. Like Indy coming out of retirement in the latest Indiana Jones films, Nathan can be called on for one last globe-trotting adventure. Uncharted 5 is rather likely to happen at some point. Naughty Dog has been working on a project led by Uncharted writer Sean Esque for years now, and it's not intergalactic. It's unlikely we'll see Uncharted 5 before intergalactic releases, but we sure hope to see it at some point. Bloodborne 2. Is there any video game sequel more craved than Bloodborne 2? Bloodborne is the one gigantic Sony-owned IP that somehow just keeps getting overlooked. The Last of Us got numerous remasters, and even Days Gone just received one. So what is Sony waiting for? Well, one thing's certain. If Bloodborne 2 were announced, it would be the only game capable of rivaling GTA 6 in sheer hype. Here's hoping it avoids the multiplayer-heavy direction of From Software's recent projects and instead doubles down on the slow burn, atmospheric exploration that made the original Bloodborne so unforgettable. Titanfall 3. Titanfall 3 occupies the same heartbreaking territory as Bloodborne 2. Everyone wants it, yet EA refuses to greenlight it. The first cancellation came in 2019 when EA halted development in favor of Apex Legends, chasing the booming hero shooter market and its lucrative ongoing revenue. Then earlier in 2025, the developer had to shutter their planned Titanfall extraction shooter due to layoffs. What made Titanfall 2 so special was its well-paced and wildly inventive single-player campaign. It's probably the last significant FPS campaign that I can think of that wasn't a Doom title. It's still not an impossibility that the developer gets a legitimate opportunity to make Titanfall 3, but a major shift in EA's priorities needs to happen first. Sleeping Dogs 2. This one's more of a pipe dream than any others on this list. Sleeping Dogs is a very popular cult classic for a reason. It oozed personality and was a genuine counterpart to GTA. Unfortunately, the development studio, United Front Games, shut down in 2016. The main developer still holds the rights to the Sleeping Dogs IP though, so maybe there is a snowball's chance in Southtown for it to happen. The studio's MMO spin-off, Triad Wars, took place within the universe of Sleeping Dogs. Launched briefly in open beta, but was quickly shut down after poor reception. But imagine a thoroughbred sequel to Sleeping Dogs, one that wasn't a sloppy MMO, but a single-player game with a more intricate Hong Kong map filled with fully realized martial arts combat propelled by modern processing power. A proper Sleeping Dogs 2 could be incredible. Metal Gear 1 Remake. I fell asleep. Imagine that iconic line from the 1988 NES version of the original Metal Gear, first released in 1987, being fully voiced in a modern, high-fidelity remake. Unlike polished and cleaned up scripts of Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'd want Konami to preserve the hilariously botched translation of that original. It would both honor Kojima and provide some charm to the game. Of course, the fully blown HD graphics and character renderings would probably make those lines extra awkward, but hey, that's what makes this series so lovable, right? The good news is a remake of the original Metal Gear isn't impossible. Konami has shown a willingness to remake classic Metal Gear titles faithfully, and what better candidate than the very first games from the 80s? New Dino Crisis. Forget a new Dino Crisis, I'd settle for a remaster or a full remake of that first game. Who am I kidding? I do want a new Dino Crisis. The developer sits on the most beloved dormant IP, barely acknowledging the series that fans have begged to see a return. Who doesn't want a new Mega Man, especially Legends, Breath of Fire, or, of course, Dino Crisis? Dino Crisis, a 90s survival horror game, never grew past its more action-oriented 2003 third entry. But fans still swear by the first game, which followed the classic Resident Evil formula in a Jurassic Park-inspired setting. A modern-day game firing on all cylinders would do justice to the original Dino Crisis if RE2 and RE3 remakes are anything to go by. But just imagine what they could do with a completely new entry, with a mature horror and first-person perspective of, say, Resident Evil 7. A new Infamous. Continuing the trend of studios sitting on a golden goose is Sucker Punch and their dormant Infamous series. There was a time when a new Infamous game was the talk of the gaming town. It was a series about open-world parkouring around realistic cityscapes, but one element that sets Infamous apart is its karma system. You can choose your morality in these games, something that shows itself in the powers that you unlock as well as key story decisions. With today's more advanced processing and capabilities, the potential of that system is enormous. Imagine branching storylines, deeper morality-driven powers, and immersive sim-style world reactions. And heck, just adding more customization elements based on morality would just be awesome. But Sucker Punch will need to step away from Ghost series to make that happen, and it's unclear when that day will come. Sekiro 2. Finally, we have another From Software juggernaut that's been left alone since its release. Unlike Bloodborne, Sekiro never even received any DLC. None. We all kind of applauded their restraint at the time, but after some years away, it's hard not to wish that the game had gotten an expansion or two. Out of all the FromSoft games, Sekiro takes the cake for having the most awesome combat. It's very focused and specialized, leading to more intricate and precise controls. Sure, Sekiro didn't have a lot of playstyles to choose from, but that focus is what made the limited playstyle so polished. A sequel could expand your playstyle selection pretty significantly, without sacrificing the original's polish. The core combat system is already built, they just need to expand the build options a bit. Fans would love to see it, but as many know, Hidetake Miyazaki isn't fond of sequels, so while Sekiro 2 would be a dream come true, we should not expect it anytime soon.
And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at Gaming Vault, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.